Greeting, kindred. I am Voivode Maquette for Our World of Darkness. And it's Thursday, which means we're having another clan discussion. The topic this week is Clan Hecata. Now, Hecata has chosen to take the name of the Grecian goddess of the crossroads of life and death, necromancy and medicine. The goddess that even the Olympians have to give offerings to just to do what they want. Hecate has some amazing stories behind her, and she is, at heart, behind most of the Grecian stories that you know of, even if you've never heard of her before. She's also the goddess of witchcraft, goddess of ghosts. And that brings us to tonight, where we're going to discuss the Clan of Death, if you can call them a clan. It's more of a group of bloodlines brought together under a common banner, the Hekata. Who are they? Where do they come from? And where are they going? Settle in, pour yourself something red, and let's have a discussion. Now, most of us who have been playing for a good long while now will know members of the Hekata, if we don't know about who the Hekata are in general. We know of the Giovanni. We know of the Cappadocians from myth, even their servitors, the Lamia. We know of the Zemeti, and those hardcore kindred scholars out there will know about the Necromancer. Those who used to truck with the Black Hand. Not the Sabbat, the true Black Hand. The Manus Nigrum. The light conglomeration of clans that not only believed in antediluvians, but are said to actually keep some safe in the spirit city of Enoch. Who knows? What I can tell you now, though, is that things have changed. And in the recent nights, an event known as the Family Reunion has gathered all of the necromancers under one roof. Who are they? Are they just the Giovanni and whatever dabbling leftovers of the Cappadocians, possibly the Harbingers of Skulls of the Sabbat, or even the Zemeti? That's just the tip of the iceberg. Do you know about the Pisanope, the Putanesca, the Duncerns? There are a lot more necromancers in the world of darkness than anyone really gives credit for. That being said, let's delve into the Hekata. It's kind of funny that one of the, what we would consider numerous clans of the Hekata, the Giovanni, were founded during an event called the Conspiracy of Isaac, or the Last Supper. Isaac being the biblical Isaac, child of Jacob, who was not sacrificed. The lamb was sacrificed in his stead. At the Conspiracy of Isaac, Cappadocius, the founder of Clan Cappadocia, was the lamb for the sacrifice, bringing Augustus Giovanni, the patron of the Venetian necromancers, to height of power, slaying and attempting at least to devour his own sire. Things don't always go to plan. And where Cappadocius was the victim at the last, Augustus seems to have been the victim of this one. Giovanni weren't hunted down and destroyed like they did to the Cappadocians, though, because Most members of the Giovanni are young. They weren't around 500 years ago when that all happened. forgiveness is a virtue, apparently, with necromancers. And where most of the family might hate and want to see the Giovanni family eradicated, they were allowed to join the Hekata, bringing their gifts, their strength, to them. So what do we know about them? Well, we do understand that Cappadocius' sense of death prevails. We know that the Cappadocians need to study things, and the way that it dies and decays has taken paramount. And therefore, the new clan Bane being collectively morbidity. All Cappadocians need to know. And they can't cheat. They're not allowed to use their necromantic gifts, their Oblivion, to find out exactly how something's going to die or when something's going to die or something. If it did die, how it already died, who killed it. They have to find out by natural means. Poetic. They have a means of finding out. But I think the reason why the Cappadocians or the Hekata, the necromancers, need to find out without the use of these things is because they don't 100% know if the use of Oblivion shapes the fate of those they use it on. So, the Hekata will be at a 3-trait penalty on any challenges until they discover the cause of death of their target, dead or not. Their clan Bane, on the other hand, has carried over from clan Giovanni. Not exactly sure why, but from a technical standpoint, I understand. I understand all too well. If the Cappadocian flaw or the Zemeti flaw carried over to the new clan Bane for the Hekata, you just have a reskinning of the Nosferatu. And it's very nice to see the fact that they have decided to give us color. Why have two clans with the same Bane? Doesn't make any sense. But to have that bite cause pain in their victims, to cause damage. Hell, if anything wants to willingly let the Giovanni, I keep calling them by their individual names, if anybody wants to let the Hekata feed off them, as soon as those teeth sink in, they have to try to escape, and there's a difficulty of 2 on them panicking and frenzying if they're a kindred. I think they made the right decision. So, with Oblivion, one of the disciplines that they carry, they also have Auspex and Fortitude, which were the classic means of power. Now, I personally think that if you were playing a Bloodline, which are available on lore sheets, if you chose a lore sheet that allowed you to take being of the past clans that have come together, I think as an ST, as a storyteller, I would allow you to take the disciplines, if you wanted to, of what your clan was, because it's already in your system at that point. If somebody came up to me and said, oh, I want to play a Zemeti, so can I please take the Baron sheet, the Descendants of the Baron? I'd be like, yes, you can definitely take that. And if you want to, if you really want to, you can take your Auspex and trade that for Obfuscate. Because that's what you should have. Perhaps it comes down to predator type. That each clan has a specific way they like to feed. I haven't really thought that far into it. But if you're a Giovanni, you're Fortitude. You can take Potence or Dominate if you wish, because that's the disciplines of the clan. Or the Nachraja. They could have Dominate instead of Fortitude. Who knows? Who knows? This is all storyteller speculation. It doesn't really matter. What matters is what are we looking at when it comes to their prime discipline? Necromancy. It's Oblivion. Is it La Sombra Oblivion? No. No, it's more specialized. I'm going to name every clan before I get this right. Where the La Sombra have the ability to go, oh, I'm going to collect the shadows around me and I'm going to control the specters, and those are environmental elements of the shadows. Where the Hekata have the ability to domineer and control the residents of the Shadowlands. So what can they do? Well, they have Ashes to Ashes. That's an amazing power. It's not exactly what you'd think. Would you see a La Sombra with this power? No. But the ability to bleed on a corpse and have it disintegrate into nothing. Nothing but dust, where you just sweep it away. If you're lucky. There's also the chance that it could become a pile of putrid, bubbling mess, a stain that never goes away. Evidence is gone, but you're sure as hell going to have more investigation because of that. Binding a fetter. Binding fetter is amazing because the eyes become reflective of the scene around everything. Like, they become mirrors. And the Hekata can then sense by sight or hearing or smell, maybe taste, what items could be a fetter. A fetter, an item that will bind a wraith to a specific area, making them that more under your control. I'm not going to say that the bottle of wine in the other room might very well be my fetter. Fatal Precognition is a level 2. Now, that's an amalgam with Auspex too, by the way. And the way that it works is you get the sight of Final Destination. You can see how a person is going to die. You might even catch glimpses of a killer, or the first person to find them, or the cause, the emotions, everything involved in it. You can avoid it. But things get difficult. You can try to completely avoid what's going to happen to a victim of fate. But fate doesn't like that. Fate gets what's coming to her. And there's no way in hell you're going to stop her. Not at least without strenuous effort. Where the Shroud Thins is probably one of my favorite Oblivion powers for the Hekata. Because instead of lowering the shroud like you used to be able to do in the other older editions, in this one, where the Shroud Thins allows you to do is to know. You have to go to a place. You cannot shred the shroud yourself. You have to go to those haunted places. And they could be anything. Anything of high emotion. Anything where the ethereal energies of a person, living or dead, can cause the shroud to be less mundane and more magical. Aura of Decay. You can cause things to actually just disrupt around you. You can cause things to rot around you, causing, hell, you can cause food poisoning to people if they're eating foul things that you've interacted with. Passion Feast. I love Passion Feast. Fortitude 2. is an important one for this, because it's an amalgam. What Passion Feast allows you to do is actually feed off the very essence of a wraith itself. It's very reminiscent of the Vitreous Path Necromancy, or Nihilistics, if you've ever read Dirty Secrets of the Black Hands, and this is definitely brought into the Oblivion power by the Nakharasha. Necrotic Plague is another thing. A level 4 power for the Oblivion allows you to create plagues that have been extinct due to man's meddling for a long time. They spread. They even become contagious. But it's something that I can see the Hekata being curious about. Plague bearers as they are. Now, Skald Fulfilled. Skald, if you don't know, is the eldest sister of the Norse fates, known as the Nords. They are 3 in number. They birth the soul. They plan out its life, and they cut the skein. And Skald is the cutter of the skein. The way Skald Fulfilled actually works, though, is anything that has caused you to suffer in Fate's grasp, broken limbs, sicknesses, escapes from death, anything like that, they catch up to you. You're an emissary of Fate at that point. You are the spirit from Final Destination, which is destroying everything in its path to get to you. It's poetic, and I enjoy it. Then there's the Withering Spirit. Withering Spirit is probably one of the most dark powers in 5th edition. Where it might not kill you because it attacks your will powers and just drains you from being able to actually do anything. If they destroy every bit of willpower, they stop you from being able to come back as a wraith. They destroy your soul upon your death. It might not kill you, but there's nothing waiting for you on the other side. You're gone. You are destroyed the moment you die, even if they're no longer around. If someone enacts this power on you and they destroy all of your willpower, and then someone destroys them 5 years from now, 10 years from now, hell, we're talking kindred, 300 years from now, when everything's all over and done and somebody finally hacks off your head, or you meet the stake of a hunter or something like that, there's nothing but blackness waiting for you. You're dead on all levels, especially spiritually. Now, something else that is quite amazing when it comes to the Oblivion discipline is that we're not talking about the natural impulses of Oblivion. There's also ceremonies, and the ceremonies will allow you to allow a wraith to inhabit a corpse that you've prepared, or summon a spirit to your location. Create a homuncular beast, like a living hand that skitters across the ground or does your bidding, or an ear that just flops all over the place and picks up whatever information you need for it. You can dominate a spirit to do whatever you want it to do with Compel Spirit. Host Spirit allows you to open your body as a necromantic conduit between the living and the dead, allowing a wraith to use you. How many Hekata are nothing but wraiths, looking for revenge against the necromancers that have cursed them in the past? You can create zombies with shambling hordes. You can bind a spirit as a spy. You can open the Shadowlands itself. You can walk inside of them. It's pretty intense. I like the way that it's been done. I think that the team at World of Darkness has definitely given us something to think about. And you might feel like I'm rushing the descriptions here. I could very well read all the details on this if you wanted me to, and I'll be happy to do that if it's asked, but what I really want to get down to is the fact that I don't think the Hekata are a clan. They're a sect. They're a cult. And the reason I say that is because what is a clan? I'd say vampires in general are a clan, all of them, every single one of them. They're the clan of Cain. Bloodlines, on the other hand, would be the ones that are separated by the antediluvian's powers. What is it when there is no antediluvian anymore creating? What is it when multiple vampires of different bloodlines come together as a group? It's a coterie, or it's a faction. And I think that's exactly what the Hekata are. They're a faction, or a very large coterie. There's a saying, you don't pick your family. They disagree. Hell, the moment that everybody came together and decided that they weren't going to just hate on the Giovanni and hunt them down anymore because their Augustus was dead, they were going to allow the younger members of Clan Giovanni to form into the fold and look for safety with the other necromancers. They chose their family. They might not like them. Nobody says they like them, but they're sure as hell going to use them. They're useful. They have power. They have money. They have necromancy that could definitely come in handy. But do they? Where does the necromancy come from? We've got the powers of the Hekata, that's sure, but the rituals that the Giovanni got rich off of, that they got powerful off of, who created them? The Pisanob. The, what are they called? The... Where are you? There you are. The children of Tenochtitlan. A South American group of necromancers that have worked on ritualistic perfection and necromantic abilities since their induction to the clan by the Giovanni. They're tired of being told what to do. What about the money? The Duncern have the money. The Scottish bankers, those cannibals. I'm not making a satire punch at bankers in general. The Duncerns are in fact cannibals. They eat people. They kill and eat people. And I'm not even talking about them being kindred. I'm talking about they're humans. But they're here. What about crime? What about the mafia power that the Giovanni are said to have? Puttanesca. Social influence? Money and realty? Milliner. The Giovanni have nothing. Their bloodlines have everything. Now that being said, the Giovanni are allowed to play with the others, but why? Could be long-standing revenge? Who the hell knows? All I can tell you is what the lore is telling me. And the lore is telling me that the Duncerns are backing everything when it comes to money. That the children of Tenochtitlan, the Pisanob, they're providing the magical know-how and the ritualistic stakes. The descendants of the Baron, well, they know all about the way dead bodies work. They've been studying them ever since they were brought in. But who's going to hold the silk hat? Where is the Baron? Where is the dead man, as I like to call him? Because we all know who he was. He was a 4th or 5th generation Cappadocian that made his way to the Caribbean. I'm a fan of the Fall of Atlantis series, the 13 Clan novels, and that was probably my favorite storyline. This is the revenge of the dead man. We also have the Flesh Eaters in the form of a lore sheet. We have the Nagarasha and everything that they can do. The fact that they can gain sustenance by eating the flesh of dead bodies and not just drinking the blood. What about the Harbingers of Skulls? I'm not saying that I don't think that some of the Harbingers didn't just decide that the Sabbat was right after all, but they did have their own agenda, and now the Harbingers of Skulls, for the most part, are known as the Harbingers of Ashur. Ashur being a name for Cappadocius. They understand exactly what death can mean. How precious death is. Not how precious life is, but how precious death is. And what is their true goal? Well, to kill all the necromancers. Obviously. It's the highest form of studying death. How do you plan on educating them without killing them? You can't. It's not like they're gonna all die and be dead. Sure, a good number of them, especially the most knowledgeables, are going to come out as wraiths. Harbingers. Harbingers are still here. They hold Sabbat secrets. What exactly is the world of darkness going to come out with when the Sabbat come back? I have no doubt that they will be back. It's not really something I'm looking forward to either. What happens when the anti-tribute come home? There's another lore sheet called the La Familia Giovanni. The La Familia Giovanni show the importance of family and how having the right ear or having the right person to ask for money can come in handy. And with the fact that everybody hates them, it's probably a good idea to have somebody in your back pocket who's going to bail you out of a situation. What about the criminal Puttanesca? It's another one of the lore sheets. The criminal enterprise of the Giovanni. Those who actually controlled mafia power. Everybody hears Giovanni and go, oh, the Sopranos, you'll know everything about them. Just add pasta and corpses. The Puttanesca were the ones who actually had the friends in low places. They're the ones who know how to show the proper respect and to show their bellies so they don't get beaten. They know how to put their fists up and how to fight when they need to. How to stand together as a unit. How to destroy as a pack. And also, they still control the majority funds when it comes to criminal empires. Does anybody else remember the Carnivelli Bruja? I do. They were my favorite. I miss them. But the Puttanesca have it covered now that their dawn has been destroyed since what, 94, 95? It doesn't end there though, because there's another lore sheet. The lore sheet of the Gorgons. The Lamia. The bodyguards of Clan Cappadocian. Those who knew how to control the four humors of the human body. Blood, bile, phlegm. Black and yellow phlegm, I think it was. I can't help but wonder how much they blame themselves for the loss of the Clan Cappadocian. Are they happy to be included in the family reunion with Clan Giovanni? Their old enemies? Probably not. But they're here. And the strongest of them can paralyze you with a glance, because they are in fact the Gorgons. They are Medusa. They are the sisters. Most of them back in the day were women. I don't know now if they're going to be embracing men into their organization, but most of them were women, if not all of them, back in the Dark Ages. They were like the Dark Amazons. And now they're back. For revenge, maybe. Or to move on. The lore sheets also allow you to be involved in the very essence of the family reunion. Maybe you were there, maybe you helped plan things. The lore sheets definitely will fulfill all of those missing pieces of storyline. That being said, the promise of 1528. I don't know if anybody's looked at the calendar lately, but it's 2021. For those of you who are involved in Vampire the Masquerade and enjoy the necromantic scandal that is the conspiracy of Isaac, the promise of 1528 was the promise that the Giovanni would not be involved in any of the politics of the factions. They would stay out of the Camarilla, they would stay out of the Anarchs, they would stay out of the Sabbat. Well, apparently there's new information that the promise only lasts for 500 years. What the hell were the Camarilla thinking? What the hell was Hardestat thinking when the little room got together and decided that they were just going to allow the Giovanni to kill off an entire clan and they were going to laissez-faire act, keep hands off? For 500 years, they were going to allow the Giovanni to kill their own clan, to build their own power. And for what? So that they wouldn't help their enemies? That sounds legit. So that they could hold their meetings in Venice, which the Giovanni own, by the way. Giovanni were allowed to have complete dominion over Venice, but every 13 years they were allowed to have the convention, the grand conclave held on the soil. I guess neutral parties, I guess it's a political maneuver to allow them to just have it. In 7 years, the promise is up, if that's the case. What happens then? Do the Camarilla attack? Do the Giovanni or Hekata now have right to join any of the factions without being attacked? Or... See, I enjoyed what they did in V20. The Vampire the Masquerade 20th edition. I enjoyed the Independent Alliance where the Setites and the Giovanni had come together to create some organization. I heard something. For the life of me, I've never been able to find it in any of the books. I don't know where I heard it. I don't know where I read it. But I did read something about like the True Bruja being involved in the Independent Alliance somewhere. Like they were the true puppet masters controlling everything. But if that was the case, I don't see the Giovanni and the Setites becoming allies. Maybe in a sense of keep your enemies closer. Maybe that's why they were doing it. But in this world, in this existence, in the 5th edition rulings, we're not having that, but we are having them preparing for the idea that the promise is over. What happens in 7 years? Are the Hekata going to join the Camarilla? I don't see them joining the Anarchs. The Anarchs are just too... The Anarchs are not organized enough to hold the Hekata. Time will tell. But on that note, who is playing Hekata? I know I want to, but I'm usually stuck in the role of a storyteller, which I love. I would never trade that for anything. I love being a storyteller. I love creating my own worlds and telling stories and bringing enjoyment to the people who want me to give them a repast from reality. Almost like a Ravno. Create the illusions for people. But who's playing a Hekata? What are you playing? Are you playing it as the way they were before the family reunion? Are you them against the rest? Or have you decided to team up with the rest of the Clan of Death? The Clan of Death. Welcome to the world of darkness, the Hekata, and all that you bring. May your nights be long, and the blood flow like wine. Skald. Now, I have been Voivode Maquette for our World of Darkness. Thank you for joining me. And please, if you have any love for the Clan of Death, comment below. Who are you playing? How are you playing it? I want the juicy details. I'm very curious. But that being said, good evening, and I will see you next time for another clan discussion. Good night.